Hello and welcome back to the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Leah Crowley, thank you for joining us. Coming up this week, we have an important message about who to call on campus in an emergency. And we looked into exams that are being proctored by computer programs. Plus, make sure you stick around for your Rhody Sports Corner. URI now wants people on campus to dial 911 in an emergency as opposed to the old emergency number. Erin Brown has the story.
The University of Rhode Island's Public Safety Office has updated its protocol and what they want students to do in case of an emergency.
The other thing is that we recently became a 911 center. So, people can just dial 911 and get us directly now here at the Kingston campus. 2121 is still an emergency line, but we want to try to get everybody to call 911 because that's what everybody's taught in their hometown to call 911. So, and especially if you're calling from a cell phone, 911 can geolocate that cell phone. So if for some reason you didn't know where you were or you couldn't talk, 911 can still tell our police officers where you are, and we'll find you.
When looking at the Public Safety Office website, the emergency number is now listed as 911 and not the old emergency number. The Public Safety Office believes that the use of 911 will help the efficiency of addressing emergencies on URI's campus. Erin Brown reporting, 5 Cent Cigar News.
With classes being online, both lectures and exams are happening virtually. Some professors are utilizing computer programs in order to proctor their exams. But what kind of effect does that have on students? Sophia Szabo has more.
Since the rise of online classes during the pandemic, professors have been administering exams online using software which makes it nearly impossible for students to cheat. However, this software can malfunction, causing students to be falsely flagged for academic disloyalty. When taking an exam with this software, your screen and your face are recorded and your web browser is shut down. Proctoru, a commonly used software, requires a test taker to show a government-issued ID and the surroundings of the location of the test being taken. A student who preferred not to be named was falsely flagged for cheating while taking the exam with Proctoru because of technical difficulties.
For some reason, like when I press on the app on my computer, it just would not open at all.
The student called Proctoru technical support for help, who gained control of her laptop.
They kept resetting my laptop, they kept changing my settings, they did all this and that, and it took them like 2 hours this time to figure out how I can proceed with the exam, and ultimately they made me use a different laptop.
Although the student was eventually able to take the exam, Proctoru had been recording her on her phone with tech support. The software alerted her professor that she had been flagged for cheating for having her phone out.
When I got my grade back for the exam, I passed the class, I thought I was all good and done, but then a couple days later, when they flagged me for cheating and my professor reached out for me, they gave me a 0.
The student then had to have a meeting with her professor and the dean of the college to defend herself.
When I went on the Zoom link and it was the professor and the dean, it was very intimidating just because they weren't super nice about it because I could be lying because they don't know me.
The student was able to prove her innocence by pointing out that the timestamp of the recording of her on her phone and when she completed the exam did not match up. Nevertheless, she found the experience invasive.
I feel like, yes, I understand the restrictions that need to be put in place so students don't cheat and they could take the exam, but I do feel like it's a little bit of an invasion of privacy because although they didn't do this, they could literally open up anything on my computer. They can open up my messages, my photos if they really like.
We did reach out to the colleges that use the software, but they did not respond after several requests for an interview. Sophia Szabo reporting for 5 Cent Cigar News.
And now over to Aniekan Okon with your Rhody Sports Corner.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Aniekan Okon and this is your Rhody Sports Corner. After a heartbreaking last-second loss to St. Joe's a week ago, the Rhode Island men's soccer team returned to action last Saturday against the LaSalle Explorers, looking to pick up conference win number 1 of the season. Let's take you to the highlights.
Prior to the game,
Seniors Lucas Desmundo, Derek Aaron, and Garrett Cronin were honored on Senior Day for their contributions in the past 4 years for the team. LaSalle would play spoiler to these festivities, getting on the board in the 6th minute, and then again just before halftime thanks to this strike from just outside the 18-yard box from Charlie Collins to give the Explorers a 2-0 lead. But this game would be far from over. The Rams would come out of the locker room with newfound energy, getting on the board 24 seconds into the second half. They would have the opportunity to tie the score 15 minutes later thanks to this foul drawn by Braden Cannon. At the spot, Patrick Ajiman would convert the penalty to tie the score up at 2 with a little over 30 minutes to play. The game would eventually go into extra time, where the Rams would seal the victory thanks to this Ajiman cross that would find Michael Tavares for his first goal of his career. After the game, head coach Gareth Elliott praised his team's fight in the second half.
The message was there was two options. We could roll over and lie down and get beat 3-0, 4-0 or 5-0. Or we could roll up the sleeves and fight. But the fact that it couldn't be half the team fighting and half the team lying down, it had to be everybody all for one. And I think they took that message at halftime, and the option they took was to fight, as you've seen in the second half. And when you compete and you fight like that, you have a chance to be successful.
The team will return to action this Saturday for their final game of the season against UMass. Reporting from the URI Soccer Complex, I'm Aniekan Okon, 5 Cent Cigar Sports. The women's soccer team also captured their first win in A10 play this season with a comeback 2-1 victory at St. Joe's. The golf team also picked up their first win of the spring season with a win at the Rolling Green Intercollegiate. And that's it for this week's Rhody Sports Corner. I'm Aniekan Okon.
According to URI's COVID-19 tracker, for the week of March 30th through April 5th, there have been 40 positive cases with a positive test rate of 0.76%. That's all we have for you this week at the 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. We'll see you next week, and in the meantime, stay safe, Rhody.